Hey everyone, so I'm back with another fragrance review, and this is going to be my first fragrance review in almost 1 year. Can't believe it's been that long, but here we are. So I was thinking to myself, which fragrance did I want to do for my kind of like return to the fragrance world? So at first I naturally thought Britney Spears, because like she's one of my favorites, as you all know. But I'm sort of planning like this Britney week-long kind of special event. And I don't have her newest fragrance, Rocker Femme Fantasy, just yet. And I don't want to do that until I have everything like perfect. So I was kind of thinking of someone else, and there'll always be a special place in my heart for Jessica Simpson fragrances. So I decided to sort of come back with a review of one of her more recent ones. So today I will be reviewing Fancy Girl, which is the fifth fragrance in the Jessica Simpson Fancy fragrance collection. So this fragrance unfortunately did not get a widespread launch. It also didn't get an advertisement or a commercial or a lot of products. It was kind of just shoved out there like quickly. This particular ad is for the original Fancy by Jessica Simpson, her first fragrance. But I do have the box for Fancy Girl. It's a nice box. It's a white color with golden writing on the front there. And it says Fancy Girl Jessica Simpson in her traditional signature. And on the bottom of the box, we have a golden base, and it kind of sparkles upwards with all of this light golden glitter that goes all along all sides of the box. And on the top of the box, we have Jessica Simpson. And there's nothing inside. I know with the I Fancy You box, it had that cute little like poem that I love. So there's nothing in this one, but that's okay, we can just pretend. And then the bottle is beautiful, I love it. It actually reminds me a lot of the Fancy Love bottle. The Fancy Love bottle was white with a golden cap as well. But this time, the golden cap is more of a reflective, like a shiny gold, rather than a solid gold. And the bottom of the bottle, of course, has the same sparkling gold glitter as the box. It's kind of as if, like, it was Fancy Love, and then she, like, polished the top, and then, like, just dipped it in glitter and spun it around a little bit. That's pretty much what happened. So, I have my official Fancy tester strip, of course. I sprayed Fancy Girl on this like moments ago, and then I left the room, and then I came back, and like my whole world was Fancy. This is a very strong fragrance, just like most of the other Fancies. So some people think that Fancy Girl is a mixture of two fragrances. The first one being the original Fancy, and the second one being Fancy Love. So you kind of just like pour them both in there, and you get Fancy Girl. I kind of agree, but not entirely. I don't think it smells similar to Fancy Love. I never really got like a Fancy Love vibe from this one. It does smell quite similar to the original. Like there's definitely the signature scent of the original Fancy as part of this one. But I would say as like the second fragrance, if I was gonna, think of two that kind of gave birth to this one, I would say the other one was Paris Hilton's Can Can Burlesque. Can Can's always had that sort of like syrupy apricot amber kind of aroma, in my opinion, and I feel like that is also present in Fancy Girl. So let's talk about the notes like individually. So in the top note of Fancy Girl, we have three fruits. We have the pear, the raspberry, and the nectarine. You know what it kind of reminds me of, like, right from the top? Do you remember Wrapped with Love by Hilary Duff, before she, like, died? Wrapped with Love had the raspberry and, like, the chocolate, and it really, like, takes me back to those days. Okay, anyway, so the top note of the fragrance, I would say, is actually more dominated by that apricot smell. I don't know where the pear went. Our poor little pear always gets bullied by, like, all the other fruits whenever it's in a fragrance. So, pear is kind of just hiding in a corner somewhere, but I'd say the apricot is quite strong, or sorry, the nectarine. The nectarine is quite strong, but we do get that fresh raspberry smell that's prominent. Not for too long, though. It's kind of just there for like a minute, like literally 1 minute. You get like that kind of fresh raspberry tart smell. Pears, crying in the corner, and then the nectarine is really the more dominant fruit. And then in the heart of the fragrance, we have golden orchid, cyclamen, and freesia. Cyclamen joins the pair to kind of comfort it, so they're just out of the picture. But I would say the freesia has that nice soft floral touch to it that's kind of giving it less of a fruity vibe and kind of going more into that floral territory. But I would have to definitely say that it's the golden orchid that gives it more of its personality. It has that sort of soft creaminess to it. So at this point in the fragrance, we're still quite fruity from that nectarine. Raspberry is gone. The orchid's really showing itself, and it's becoming that nice, soft, creamy, kind of romantic smell, like how Fancy was, but not quite as like syrupy at this point. It's more of just a creamy, fruity floral scent. And then it's the base of the fragrance that has a lot of those really heavy notes that really like push it into the Fancy collection. So we have the vanilla, the amber, the sandalwood, and the musk. Fancy, of course, had caramel and red berries and the vanilla and the amber, so it was a very heavy, fruity gourmand, whereas this is more of a lighter, fruity gourmand. I find that at this point, like after a while, once the fruits kind of settle down, it does start to smell more and more like the original Fancy. It kind of had its own character going strong for a while, but eventually it dries down to that just that floral sweet scent, but it's still very strong. You know what I would say? Okay, think about Fancy. Pretend this was called Fancy Woman, and this is Fancy Girl. So it's almost as if this is kind of like the stronger, a little bit more fancy version of this one. This one's a little bit more youthful, it's a little bit lighter, it's not quite as heavy on any of its notes, but it's still kind of like what Fancy was before it like grew up and really knew what it was doing. That's kind of like how I would describe them. So if you always thought that like Fancy was just too heavy or like it's just too much, but like you like it but it's a little bit too much, I would say Fancy Girl is a great alternative for you because it kind of is just the girl version of this one. Now, in terms of other products, there's no lotion or shower gel for this fragrance, no miniature, no roll-on. There was a gift set, however, that was available at Macy's for like a certain amount of time, and it came with weird products. It had, I think they were nail polishes. They were like in the same colors as the golden glitter. So it was like a golden glitter nail polish and like a bronze glitter nail polish and maybe like a white one. But you didn't really get any like body products like you would normally get with the other Fancies. In terms of lasting power and when to wear it, as I sort of hinted to before, it's a very long-lasting fragrance and it's a very strong fragrance. One spray is all you need. Same with the original Fancy. Like if you do 2 sprays or more than that, like it's going to be a dangerous situation for everyone involved, especially you. In terms of when to wear it, I don't think this is a summer fragrance at all. I don't think the original Fancy was either. Summer and spring, no. This is definitely like a fall and winter kind of fragrance because it has that kind of warm coziness to it. I mean, it is also a little bit lighter than the original one, and like the raspberry makes it kind of fresher, but do remember that it's the base of the fragrance that really shows itself pretty quickly and stays that way for a while. So it's going to smell too like sticky on you if you're going to wear this during the hot months. So don't do that. Okay, so I think this is the last fragrance in the Fancy series. Maybe I said that in the last Fancy video, I can't remember. But she has a new fragrance out that's just called Jessica Simpson, like her signature scent. So I think that's kind of her way of saying goodbye to the Fancies and like hello to this new line. That, of course, breaks my heart because I love the Fancies very much, but I'm glad that we got the ones that we did, and, you know, I'll always have Fancy Love, my favorite. So why don't I do just a quick little summary of the fragrance before we say goodbye. So Fancy Girl is the 5th and probably last installment of the Fancy collection. It's a sort of more youthful version of the original Fancy. We start with raspberry, pear, and nectarine. The pear kind of cries in the corner somewhere, and raspberry gives us a nice splash of Hilary Duff realness, and then we kind of quickly go into the nectarine, which dominates the fragrance in terms of the fruity part. The floral heart, it's the creamy golden orchid that gives it a nice, soft, smooth, sweet scent. And then the base of the fragrance has the amber and the vanilla and the musk and the sandalwood, and that really makes it last a long time, taking it into that true fancy territory and making it a floral gourmand kind of scent. It lasts forever, it's very strong, and it's good for the cold months. Alright guys, so that's the end of my review. As I said earlier, I'm going to be doing the reviews regularly now. You don't have to wait another year, I promise. So thank you for watching, and I hope you still, enjoy these videos, and you're going to be seeing a lot more of me if you care to watch. And yeah, I'm happy to be back. So I'll see you guys soon with some more fragrance reviews.